You know what, Panos? You know what you get when you cross a mentally ill patient with a society full of mentally ill barbers? Welcome back to the Shade Cinema Podcast. I'm Chris, and these are my wonderful guests. This is Nishan.
I'm back.
Alex, Panos, and Luca. That's a gang sign.
Get your money up, not your funny up.
So today we're going to talk about Joker.
Bruh.
So, remember guys, before we start, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Ballsy.
And let's get going. So, the movie is, was quite the hitter, so it's going to be a heavy show. So today, first question is going to be one of the things I noticed was like the relationship between Murray and Arthur. I think Arthur had some form of connection with Murray. So what do you think Murray is to Arthur?
That's a good one. Who wants to start?
You go for it.
Okay. So on the top of my head, I think like he idolized him a lot. Like he saw this great guy, great host, you know, like he would keep seeing him on TV and be like, yo, this guy like so cool, you know, like I wish I was in the crowd. I wish he like talked to me. Like I want to be able to like have a conversation with this guy. So I think he really idolized him and he thought like he was a like like a very serious man or like somebody who was like on top of his shit. So he took him really seriously, you know. He had like a certain expectations of him, you know. And then like we'll delve deeper later, but like we'll talk about it like near the end, like his perspective changed, but like at the beginning it was he
idolized him.
Yeah, basically. Like that's one of the main things I get from that.
I would say he was sort of like, sorry to cut you. I think he would be like more of a, like you said, he idolized him because he sees him maybe as a father figure. You know, this guy has been through such a depth of emotions, and I think he just clings onto him as an image or, you know, like a sign of, it symbolizes fatherhood maybe for him, something that he's been lacking in his life.
So it's like his father, like you'd say it's his father figure?
Yeah, in a way. He latched himself onto this image of Murray, you know, he's this very charismatic guy, gives good lessons, you know, ends his show well. And I think that's like sort of become a routine with him, like a good night routine, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, I get that too. Like whether it's like a father figure, he idolizes him, like he respected the man, you know, like he was like, yo, like I want to be like somebody like Murray, you know? Murray.
Definitely. I think we should definitely put father figure up there. It's not. I think he thought he was his father for a while, like almost because we know he's very, he had mental illnesses, and that was very prominent in the movie. And so I think obviously his mom was in that case. We all saw that, and he never even knew he had a father or who his father was, anything about his father. And so I guess every night watching the show, like became his. Almost like his, again, father figure. Like he like almost asked to talk to the TV, talk to him, you know what I mean? Like it was,
yeah, he would put himself in the episode like
daydream a lot,
about it, like it genuinely like almost believing that Murray's his father almost.
Panos?
Yeah, I think guys hit the nail on the head. It's just but I would take it a step further, I guess. It's also, I think the character of Murray's there because it's one of the many I guess like mainstream themes that the movie deconstructs is the deification of celebrities. So a lot of the time nowadays, celebrities are put up as like like the bastions of moral truth and justice and shit. And like, you know, I mean a lot of them don't even want that, you know? Like it's not even necessarily a lot of these actors' faults. Like a lot of them do like that virtue signaling stuff. But yeah, I feel like Murray's there to show the dangers of deifying regular ass people just because they happen to be in Hollywood doesn't mean that you need to get so unhealthily attached to these people. Like, yeah, okay, I can respect that they're a big part of your life. Like, yeah, like to him, Murray's like, you know, that father figure, it fills that gap. But you'd actually be surprised how many, like, you know, everyday people talk about celebrities like as if they know them. I'm sorry, you can't make a judgment call on like, say like, Barack was a good dude. It's like I didn't know the fucking
you never
president.
met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never met him. You
Just
know,
from obviously images and stuff that's pre-played and pre-thought out before even being put out.
yeah, and you see it later in the film, right?
Exactly.
You see like applause. Like you get told even
Yeah.
what's funny. I mean, there's broader connotations to the role of Murray in the
Yeah.
movie,
But
but,
what-
as
but-
far as what he means to Arthur, yeah,
What he means to Arthur.
father figure for sure. He's daddy.
The Robert De Niro face.
do it again.
But yeah, for as far as like what he means to Arthur, daddy.
Daddy.
Wrong,
Yeah,
daddy.
he's comedy daddy.
What do you
Yeah,
think, Chris?
that's-
What do you think, Chris?
What do you think?
What do I think? Or
No, Adan's not here. It doesn't matter. No one's asking you what you think.
or
What do you mean by that?
Oh, hell no.
Whore?
yeah, I think you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like Murray is like the surrogate father to Arthur because Arthur didn't have like that father figure growing up, and that plays like a big factor in his desires to move into like comedy and stuff because he just sees him like as his idol. He sees Murray as his idol, and then that Murray, because he's like a funny dude or whatever, inspires him to pursue comedy. And we'll talk more about Joker's or Arthur's comedy later.
Best stand-up comedian.
I actually just want to bring up a point just for fun. So you're saying like how it's like obsessive over like celebrities and stuff like that. I know it's something to do with anything, but I'm a big fan of like How I Met Your Mother, and Barney, which is one of the main characters. He obsesses over this like not fictional, but this character like a Wheel of Fortune, the host. And
Okay.
when he was a kid, every single day he'd watch it, and he truly believed it was his father. Like he would sit there and be like, "Dad, that's my dad," and like that was like a joke in the show, but like it actually like there is like you're saying people who think like
but
that.
it's not there's a reason it's even in the shows, like
That's
in
it.
that characters do it. There's
and that's
a lot
exactly
of
what more in my head. Like that's why I kinda,
like bro, people had Justin
shared.
Bieber blankets and everything. Like it's just you know
Wait,
what I
Yeah,
mean.
the point was like how it connected with the Joker, where he
But did he meet him in the show?
he did at the end,
And then what happened?
and he realized that it was like he had no correlation to this
Yeah.
guy at all. Like he's just a nobody. He has no idea, just an idea or like an imagination that he created with himself since he was a kid, watching it every single day.
And it's crazy to think that it might be designed that way too, to make
Yeah.
you feel that it fills the gap that you have in your
It's
circle.
like, is
let's
it
say.
maybe like could it be like even as a
Yeah.
watcher, a viewer, you're like, you know what, like maybe it is, like maybe he is his father.
Maybe it's not directly built like that,
Yeah.
but
but like in a sense, like where you're
indirectly.
like
It begs the question.
It begs-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I
But-
only have one question to you.
But I got that impression too in the movie. There's a lot of things where like even after rewatching a couple of times, like you're not fully sure of some stuff.
It's just
Yeah,
You're like,
so
was it?
we'll touch over. We'll get over that later. But my next question is going to be: there was a part where Arthur gets given a gun by one of his coworkers, but he's very fixated on the gun. Why do you think he's fixated on the gun?
Because he's the Joker and he's crazy, and it's America.
What do you mean by that?
Honestly, I don't know.
like
Fuck you, bitch.
I think he's been acquainted with violence, but I don't think having the tool, the true tool of violence in your own hands, I don't think he's ever felt that before.
I
So
guess yeah,
he's
like
kind of like shook at the same time, but he's an unstable man, and I don't think his coworker. It's a lack of thinking from his coworker, and like giving a gun to a insane person.
Yeah.
isn't, like the safe thing to do, but still.
I think it's like the power of like he got the gun and the she was like kind of like shaking of
Big
like
time.
excitement and power of like
Probably,
obviously-
Yeah, and he goes after it the first time because he's been at such a loss of power.
Oh,
Right? He can't.
yeah.
He hasn't been able to really assert himself in life. So, and like a lot of people just get duped into thinking that you grab a weapon and all of a sudden that's going to give you the power you need.
Well, I mean, right
Yeah.
before
Um,
getting the gun, right, he got like beat almost to death, right, in the
It-
train.
Subway.
It's
Subway.
his power to fight back. It's like it gives him the chance to fight back. He's not fit for a physical
very
fight.
Yeah, he's
but,
very
like,
he's very powerless in his whole life. His whole life he's very powerless. He just got fired, right?
Yeah,
That's the ultimate sign of powerlessness, that where you get basically removed from your work is like the ultimate sign of powerlessness. So then he he was obviously getting jumped at the same time. And then when he finally got it, like he was able to just like shoot people down. But there was even a scene in the movie where he's in his apartment and he's like dancing around with the gun, right?
Okay,
He's
well,
practicing.
isn't
And then
there the bathroom scene too? Like after he shoots the 3 guys.
It's before
yeah,
that.
well, the bathroom scene is just that's
but
the
doesn't he
different.
have the gun?
But even no,
He
you're
does
talking
have the
about-
gun, but he doesn't wield it around. Doesn't look at it. He's just kind of like dancing around. But I mean, like he's in his apartment and he's shirtless and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing over there? Oh, what if I do this?" And then he accidentally shoots the
What
gun.
if I do this?
But it is.
Yeah, baby. Fucking Aaron.
I think it's really interesting how they did the gun thing, because the whole movie, I mean, like, there's this artist, this carver from Montreal. His name is Jonathan Pajot. He does a lot of he analyzes a lot of things symbolically, and he was talking about how this movie, everything it does is it just flips every current mainstream narrative on its head, whether it's right or whether it's left, and that's why nobody like that's why it pissed off such a wide array of people, and it you know, it made the waves that it did. With the gun, for instance, it's set up like almost like pro gun. Like, look at this poor defenseless person.
Give him a gun.
Look
in
at
his
how
hand.
powerless they are. Look at like, and then he's getting the shit beat out of him. And then when he blasts the first guy, you can argue that it's self-defense, right? Like when he blasts him, it's self-defense, the first one. And, you know, it almost feels like cathartic for one moment. So you're almost like, as a viewer, you're happy about like the fact that he had a gun to protect himself. And it's like, fuck that asshole, you know, the one who
Yeah.
died. But then it
Fuck
very
you,
quickly,
bitch.
it very
Degenerates.
quickly flips on its head. And he doesn't need to kill the other two. They're running away. He chases,
The
Bro, he
last
chases.
one.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Chases the
he
guy
walks
down.
like this.
right?
The last one he chases.
Yeah, he deliberately. So it goes from one
he
self-defense
executes him.
murder to an execution.
But he like shoots him like 5-6 times.
So it kind
Once
of
he's out the
flips
clip.
the narrative you think it's gonna go with the gun. It kind of flips it on its head, and then there's another reversal that flips off other people, which we'll get to later. But it ties into the gun. So I just wanted to make this point now, and I'm gonna circle back to it like way further down, because I'm sure you're gonna ask a question that's gonna like let me answer. So
Okay.
But yeah, like I'd like to add, like, yeah, like what he said like what everybody said, like he has this obsession with the gun, like he's obsessed with it, like the
That's the question.
dancing.
Well,
Like,
why is he obsessed?
why is he
It's
obsessed?
The guilt, the power trip.
Yeah, the
It's-
power
it's-
trip. Because he, like we all mentioned, like you see from throughout the movie, through the beginning, like he's a very, like he's a helpless man. Like he loses his job, like he's uncomfortable in his body, like his apartment's a mess, like just like nothing's working out for him, and like he was getting bullied and everybody, he was just like a clown, like everybody was making fun of him. So the fact that someone gave a gun, like having that power to be able to like do something, I get. So he was like using the gun as a means to like, I'm powerful now, I'm not helpless anymore, you know, nobody's gonna fuck with me anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you pretty much summed up everyone's point. So. So, here's another person. This is specifically more. We're going from I guess a prop or an item in the story to a person. When it comes to Arthur's fixation, which is, why is Arthur fixated on Sophie, the black chick that lives in the same apartment building as him?
That's a good question. I honestly, I think it's like probably the first person to genuinely like go up to him, other than him having to like make the conversation. You know what I mean? Like he's always like the hidden, quiet guy who like doesn't talk to anybody. And even when he tries to talk to people, they don't really answer back. And so it's like the kind of the first person to be like hi, like my name, you know, and then just create a conversation. And he kind of was baffled. He's like, you want to talk to me? Like, why me? You know?
at what point does it start being his imagination and it's not like actual?
That's the important question, because we don't know exactly when. But what we do know is that they do interact, like when they're in the elevator.
But do we even know that they interacted in the
That's the
elevator?
thing.
No,
That's
no,
the
they
thing.
well.
You don't know, that's
we
the
can,
thing.
We can assume.
All we know is that
We can
he
assume
knows
nothing.
she
Yeah.
exists.
Everything about the movie is questionable.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. the
All we
point
know
earlier.
is that either of them knows that the other exists, and that's it. We don't.
realistically,
Yeah. But I'm saying on his end, like why he, I guess, maybe got so obsessed, like first met her, like she kind of like carried a conversation.
Yeah, I would say that's
Right?
probably fair to say, is that like at least one of those interactions was legit, because then
Yeah.
it justifies
His obsession.
his obsession to even go that far to, you know, make up the rest in his head. You know?
Yeah.
I think that
That was
like the elevator happened. Like that was the like she probably just introduced herself once and that was it.
It's
And
the
then
smile.
She didn't even introduce herself. It was just she
smile.
just came in and she's like she just went.
She kind of like gave him the time of day though, in the sense.
That's
like,
the thing.
Yeah.
So for like a brief moment,
I think
Yeah.
that was the only
So that-
interaction they had, and everything else, like just the fact that like
It's true. It was
she
that.
spoke to him first, and then he just obsessed about
No, 'cause
everything
then-
I
else.
think
Because
it
then-
speaks to how sad his life has been, that now a flash of a smile is enough to breed this kind of obsession. I think it just further serves to show how shit this guy's life is.
For real.
Yeah.
So the
Well,
more they get us to sympathize
Yeah.
on that front, so
It's
on
the
the love
biggest
life
piece-
front, the physical safety front, the more they get us to sympathize, and they introduce them almost like sequentially, it's like the more disgusted you feel when you feel good about all the horrible shit he does after, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, but I would say this, like his relationship with her though, like obviously its conclusion is maybe the one dismal thing where you don't actually feel good about it.
In what
After.
sense?
Like, because a lot of the violence and a lot of like what happens, like, and like just the weird things he does, not even necessarily the violent things he does, but when he starts getting more cracked and like, you know, just being a fucking weirdo,
What is drugs?
Justifies
a lot of it feels like vindication, like killing the dudes in the subway in the tube.
yeah,
That like you definitely feel the catharsis in him killing them, or when he blasts Murray in the face. It's like you feel really. I loved seeing Robert De Niro just.
That was fucked. Like I did not expect that.
Because
the-
it was
the
so
passion,
fucked up.
yeah, the
But
passion.
exactly, but you get so unraveled in there, and I think that's a masterclass in filmmaking to get you to feel all these disgusting things that we would like to ignore about ourselves, but like it's all intrinsic.
I think
in
also
human nature.
bringing light to how not just how shit his life is, but how mentally ill he is. Like that's a big point as well.
Murray.
He's just extremely mentally ill. Like not only just from his his condition that he makes him laugh, which like obviously like messes a lot of things up in his life, but like everything, like that whole relationship with this girl he met for less than what we I guess expect, less than
Right.
a couple seconds. Created a whole like lifetime of like ideas and like relation, like this whole
A whole
but
relationship.
doesn't that play also? I think a fact. I think it plays into a factor of how not only how shit his life is, but how lonely he is too. The only person that's really you can call like any form of companionship that he has is either people at work, which he doesn't work there anymore,
His mom.
or his mom,
That he fucking murdered.
which we'll get to later.
No, she just wanted to taste the pillow.
But I like the pillow.
Bruce Wayne is your father. Oh no, not Bruce Wayne. What was
Thomas
it? Thomas Wayne. Fuck.
Thomas
He
Wayne.
goes to the little kid, Daddy.
Daddy.
Brucey.
No,
What
yeah,
the fuck?
more affirming, Daddy.
Where were you all these years?
I'm gonna come.
So I think it has to do a lot with how lonely he is, and because the only companions that he has is his mom and his and I guess people at work, like the little dude, I can't say the M word.
The what word?
The what?
the M word.
BM.
Oh, midget.
Okay.
Is midget a bad word?
Can you say dwarf?
The dwarf.
You can say dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah, dwarf is
The
respectful.
just a very short person.
We're not calling them imp, you know?
Imp. You should have stopped the dwarf.
I heard he hates that name.
So the only people he has friends are people from work or his mom, but like he doesn't have a life beyond that. Like he has no companionship. He doesn't go out very often. All he does is he goes to work and is a clown, and he gets jumped half the time because the city is in fucking rubble and shit. There's a ton of garbage everywhere because
He gets hit by fucking cars.
You know, actually, where they filmed the streets is where all our parents used to go to school.
what?
Surpagop?
What?
What?
Oh,
Isn't it in Montreal?
Never mind. Guys.
Okay.
Never mind.
It's the joke
Oh.
about.
You know how they always make it sound like they had to
It was
go
a
through
battlefield.
a fucking war zone. Then they had to go through like the aftermath of Hiroshima. Then they had to go uphill, and then once they start going down the mountain, they reach a sand dune. You know what I mean?
What
and
the
then
fuck?
after crossing the sand dune on a camel that just spawned there, okay, they have to take off their shoes and walk barefoot
In the Ice
on
Age.
water.
On water because
I don't like sand.
To get to Gotham Elementary School.
To get to Supagu Burchamud.
It's where the kids play soccer by kicking around bullets.
I have a
Or garbage bags in this case.
Garbage bags filled with dead bodies.
Murray! Sorry.
Murray.
Sin City wasn't...
when Joker saw that old woman on the show.
Sin City wasn't made for you.
So
Arthur likes his gilfs. That's for sure. You'd know all about that, wouldn't you?
mommy. Okay, now it's getting hot. No, but I don't know if this is one of your questions, but I wanted to like point maybe a correlation between maybe his mental health and his way of bringing up and like because of his mom. So like I don't know if I maybe explained that correctly, but like
wait.
What do you mean by that?
in the sense of like
Have to come.
you think that the way he was brought up and from his like obviously very mentally ill mother as well caused him to be who he is or who he
course.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Well-
a big part of the movie is
When he finds
it's
out
like
the revelation.
how much responsibility should all of us be taking for people going down dark roads like that.
And not just
Yeah,
that,
in this case, I think sorry to cut you off, but like in this case, his mom definitely has some form of impact upon his life, and you can see that like the decisions that she made in terms of who she went into relationships with, where it turns out that like he was almost beaten to death, like by his stepfather or his non-stepfather, because it turns out that Arthur is not the legitimate child of Penny Fleck, so which we'll get into later, but Alex, you had a point.
No, I was gonna say definitely the mother had impacts, and then like throughout the movie you see like the revelations of like what he finds out, like it really affects him, how like it plays more on his mental health and
Arthur, and
mental
you notice
stability.
his name Arthur is like it comes from King Arthur, right? It's not like it's not an old ass biblical name. Arthur's like it's from Arthurian legend, and King Arthur also comes from, we don't know what his heritage is.
His heritage
but-
is Arthur the Aardvark.
Do you so just a question like that?
Arthur.
Do you think that people are born villains or are made to be villains?
It's like
So-
the trope, the widespread trope of like he's like the product of this society, of this corrupted society.
But
Like,
do you believe
You
that?
either
Do you
die a
think-
hero or
No,
you
but
see yourself
in a sense of
long
question,
enough
do you
becoming
believe
the
that?
villain.
Do you believe that people are born to be this person, or they grow up to become that?
I feel
I think like
I
if
feel like
under
I-
different circumstances would he have?
I feel like
gone down
we've
this
already
road?
had this discussion. Harry Potter, right there. He moves. No, we've had this discussion.
Okay, my
but
bad,
No,
yeah.
but like no, it is a good
Here.
point. It is
Because
it is a good point. But I think that if Arthur, let's say, complete opposite, right? He grew up in a 2-parent household, and he probably, if he didn't know if he was adopted until probably like way later in life, he would have ended up a lot better than he was.
But do you think
But,
that's the
but he would
Joker?
still be mentally unstable. He would still have his
Well,
condition.
but they would have the means to-
but maybe he wouldn't be as
considering
lonely.
yeah, but considering the fact that Arthur was really beaten badly as a kid,
Mhm.
chances are there's probably some form of brain trauma, brain damage that we don't know about, So
well, we do know about it. It's in the files. It was said that he did have a brain trauma.
okay, well then
There's the
that
proof.
that explains
proves
it.
it,
A lot,
okay.
yeah. So then we would have had regular Joaquin Phoenix, not
No,
not
but even
Arthur
if there
Fleck.
wasn't any
2.0.
lasting brain trauma,
Like, he was still ill. Like,
getting beat, that fucks with you for life.
For sure. Yeah.
I think people really
Emotionally,
underrate
yeah.
that. You know, like
Yeah.
like a lot of people will downplay. They'll think back about like, yeah, like how many people make the joke about the belt.
Getting into position.
You know what I mean? And I think the only reason we're okay with it is because like even parents who do decide to go like the violent like the corporal punishment route, you know, they still kind of like hold back. But I think it's clear in Arthur's case, my guy got like Mike Tyson into submission as a child.
Come here, bitch.
Like he
ripped
interrupted
his
Mike
heart out.
Tyson on the plane, kind of thing. So I definitely think that regardless though, like behaviorally, there probably would have been a lot of like, he probably would have had a lot of the same problems, even if he was raised in different circumstances, but was still beat.
I think that even if he was raised in good circumstances, he'd still be the Joker.
Yeah, because he would still be mentally ill. Okay, he wouldn't have.
I think he'd be the Joker on Wall Street. is what would happen.
He'd be
if he was-
Batman, but the Joker.
He'd be the
Just
psycho.
have the
He'd be
money of
American
Batman.
Psycho.
Bat stacks.
He's right. He'd be American Psycho.
That's what he'd
Yeah.
be.
I got some books. I got some cassettes to return. The videotapes to return.
Yeah, like he'd shoot someone for having a better business card, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay, next question.
But
Thank
you had an interesting point, Luca. Like the fact
Yeah.
that like they might be the society makes
Yeah,
them
but
like that.
kind
you know?
of the thing, right? Like you're right in a sense. That because of this society, because of the way he lived, did it affect, and how is it affected, and would it have affected? You know?
well,
I guess we'll never.
I guess
know.
we'll
So
never.
like nature versus
Probably.
nurture kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never know.
So he definitely would have been better off though if he was like
Off
if
the
he wasn't
streets.
raised under those circumstances. I bet you put him in a regular like middle like a middle class household, he'll probably just get put in class 8 or something and then live the rest of his life normal. Especially if he was raised nowadays too.
He'd
Like,
probably
he'd
just
probably-
be a
He'd be on
major
the pills, bro.
He'd make it to office.
He'd probably a major alcoholic, bro. He'd definitely beat his kid up.
He needs alcohol.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, so we talked earlier about the murders, right? And how like he went up and he killed those people in
Are we
In-
talking about
in-
the subway murders?
subway
subway.
murders, and like how he killed those 3 young men. One of them was like relatively justified. The rest of them were like in pretty cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
Why were the murders of like those 3 young men the start of the whole Joker movement? Because after those kills, like the idea of the Joker, the killer clown, killing those 3 men who worked at Wayne Corp or Wayne Tech or
Wayne Tech.
whatever. Why do you think that they were like? Why do you think those murders were the start of that kind of movement?
It's very simple. It's just because of where they worked, what they represented. You know, the blue ties, the blue like the suits, people working high and paying
The rich-
jobs,
rich
the rich
people.
people.
Well, ish.
Well, the movement was definitely because at the same time there was a lot of stuff happening between the poor and the rich.
Like the city was in a desperate
Yeah.
state. You know,
Yeah.
The city was in a desperate state, like you said, and like it was the poor and the rich. You know, there was like a big gap and like things that weren't working out. So then the fact that like somebody just murdered like 3 rich people, like all the poor people were like, yeah, they deserve it. You know, so it made the movement accelerate at a faster pace because like somebody.
So
Easy kill them.
So do you think that it
It's-
was the start of the movement, or do you think it was the thing that kind of lighted?
It was the final. It was the final drop at.
It was the catalyst for sure.
Yeah.
Those 3 aren't even like rich, and it's like what Nishan said about how they embody everything good and bad in Gotham. So like those 3, yeah, we can talk about how like whatever behaviorally how pieces of shit they were, and they're just like beating on poor
But they were
people and shit.
successful young
Yeah,
entrepreneurs.
They were yeah, exactly. They were like, you could call them productive members of society though. They didn't have they didn't have like a history of crime, let's say, like, or caught crime, you know, kind of thing. So it's easy to see how a lot of people could fall into the thing of like, well, they definitely didn't deserve death, and we can definitely say like, I don't know. I think that like we can safely say they didn't deserve death.
No.
Even the first guy that he shot in self-defense, like I only say that it's justifiable in the sense that like it's an unfortunate situation, and that was like Arthur, like he saw like that's his only way out, kind of thing in that situation. So in that sense, it's justifiable. But past the first guy, even like when it's so deliberate, like it doesn't, you know, you feel disgusted as opposed to catharsis afterwards. And I think the reaction you feel as an audience and where you fall on that probably reflects how the people in Gotham felt about it. So you have the one half who feel like
They deserve
how
it.
They
how the
deserve it.
audience felt when the first guy got capped, and then there's the other half who feels how we felt when he starts chasing them and gunning them down.
But there's another factor too. You're absolutely right with the murders, but there's
Then
the
the way he
fact
runs.
because he's used to the clown shoes. But
I don't know about you guys, but it was really hard to go downstairs and not just like you know, under every staircase
the
for the next
cigarette.
month.
but like the fact
He's French.
that helped the movement is the fact that the people had a face to follow.
Yeah,
because
the people had a
I-
mascot.
The
Joker.
exactly the mascot.
That's a
theme.
good point, actually.
And you know, the murders happened, and it's ironic because to make these so-called powerful men fall, all it took was one simple clown, you know, the lowest of the lowest. And that thing that fueled the hatred and their guts. They became ballsy, you know. And
Yeah, they're storming like
Ballsy.
the courthouses and stuff. Like the protests, it was like getting hectic.
it was like like in a way the
It, like,
perfect
as the
murder,
movie-
you know, to
Yeah,
start up a riot.
definitely.
And if you notice, like from the beginning of the movie, you hear about it a bit on the news that oh, there's like people complaining, and then as the movie progresses, you see more protesters, you see more people with masks, and then there's more people like rallying, and there's more news coverage saying like oh, like
Yeah, I
Gotham
really
is
like
on the
how
brink.
all the lore and like how you see the city change
The
with
newspaper,
Arthur.
like
It
it's
was-
safe. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the
The
same thing.
also-
It was also sorry, I didn't mean to cut
it's
you
a
off, but
build
like
up.
it was also laughing at their deaths. You know what I mean? Like that's why there was like kind of the clown. It's like it was a joke. It's a like
Yeah,
like
haha, they're
clowning
dead.
them.
You
Yeah,
suck.
exactly.
Haha, you're dead. Fuck you.
Well, I think there's two points I want to make. One of them is based on what you're saying, the laughing thing. It's like the reason why I think they find it funny. I guess the people who are following the Joker is that there's a lot of people in the city who are dying every day and stuff, and there's a lot of people suffering, but there's no coverage of that on the news. Very little coverage. But then when you see these 3 Wayne guys get killed, it's like everyone.
haha, once
now,
it's one of you guys.
now,
Yeah.
once one of you guys like, oh, it's a big deal. But I think another point that I wanted to make, it's like, I noticed that, like, why do you think, what's the important link? Why do you think it has to do with the fact that there are 3 Wayne guys, or do you think it has to do with the fact that they're like, or just because they're a bit higher end?
It doesn't matter because Wayne.
How
like,
bad would you feel about if you hear like 3 Amazon executives were stomping someone to death on the subway and one of them got capped? How bad would you feel?
I wouldn't feel that bad.
Right?
about the
Exactly.
guy.
Right? What if you then see the footage, you see one of them get capped, the others run away, and then you see that person getting stomped on flip and become the predator.
Yeah, but we don't know. Well, here's the thing. I think it was just like an eyewitness thing. It was an eyewitness drawing.
Nobody saw.
Yeah, yeah,
nobody
there was-
don't know.
yeah, yeah,
nobody
there
knew.
wasn't footage
They
and
never
shit
found the
back then.
murder. They just knew they were
Well,
gunned down.
they sort of.
They said these 3 young boys got gunned down. Like one of the
No,
old
but they
ladies
saw
said
the fact that it
They
was
found-
a clown. You know,
it was
they
a
found
clown
the
face,
they
yeah.
found the murder. They found the murder eventually because they
well,
were
he
chasing
claims
him.
that at the end.
They were chasing him. With the cops were chasing him,
Mhm.
they came to his house a few times.
and then they both got really beaten up. Remember?
Yeah.
He led them in the train, and
Mhm.
one thing led to another. You know, cops in the wrong place.
One thing led to another, and then
I'm gonna come.
so
But you're like answering your question. Basically, it's like both. It's the fact that they were rich, entrepreneur, young people that had a highly reputable, like a place of work, which is Wayne Tech or Wayne Enterprises. So, and the fact that they were young, they were successful, and like, oh, these poor young boys that got shot like for no reason. But meanwhile, they were like pieces of shit.
Well, it's pretty much like what Panos was saying at the beginning of the podcast. It's kind of real life in a sense where like when you have all these people in Africa dying of hunger every day, no one covers that. No one gives a fuck. Like
on the news,
no one
like,
cares.
what's
You know what I
happening
mean?
around the
And
world.
you have this rich executive that got into a car crash and died and was like, oh, it's so sad. But
Who gives a fuck?
who gives a fuck? Like not
When
who gives
the
a
TV
fuck, but it's
tells
like
you what to care about,
yeah.
that really only applies to people who can afford TVs, right? So already,
the rich and powerful.
so already there, and then you have others who are like more in like an Arthur-like situation, like that TV is basically like the only luxury thing he has anyway. And then once he sees behind the curtain, it kind of blows the lid on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so I'm sure what he did on live TV after the murders is really what set things off, because it kind of vindicated everybody already, like on the Joker wave.
yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it just further fueled the fire for them, and then conversely for
Yeah.
the other end of the spectrum, like let's say if you want to call them quote unquote regular people, you know, they're just like, wow, another fucking murder, another reason to get these crackpots off the street, and like they're the reason why everything's garbage.
Why
So it's-
why the city's dirty? Why the city's like it's
Yeah.
their fault? It's exactly that.
Anybody to put the blame on but themselves.
100%.
There you go.
Yeah. Sort of my next question, based on what you said about TV, was and you see the blowing the lid off of whatever. When Arthur did the stand-up and he was laughing the whole time because he obviously has this condition, Murray shows the clips of Arthur doing his stand-up and just laughing and saying terrible jokes, admittedly, right? You know,
Terrible.
Yeah,
but
like didn't you guys feel awkward
yeah,
for
definitely.
him when he was
Yeah.
doing his stand-up?
Yeah, you're like, yo, just
Like,
stop
I
it.
felt bad
So-
almost like
so
yeah.
So then Murray puts him onto the show and then starts making fun of him. And why do you think that, like, not Murray, but why do you think Arthur felt betrayed by Murray when he was featured on Murray's show?
well, I
Okay.
mean, he like we said, father figure idolized this guy with every single fiber of his body, and then his dream comes true to get invited to the honor to
No, but I mean like before he gets invited, when his stand-up is being shown on.
Because he got called after.
Yes,
they
true.
aired
Sorry.
the clip.
Well, still the same point in the sense where like he idolized.
He's like on
him
the show,
as
like
his
people are
father.
talking about him.
Yeah, and then like the one time like it's like kind of like the light shines on him. They're laughing at him. Like his father figure is his person he idolizes the most is making fun of him.
Do you think? I think you're talking about like why would he want to after saying that then? go
Oh,
on the
show up on the show.
Is that what
No.
you're asking?
What I'm asking for is why did Arthur feel betrayed by Murray after Murray showed his stand-up skit on?
I don't
Murray's show?
remember him feeling betrayed at the beginning.
No,
Right,
remember when
his
he's in the
face was pretty
hospital
obvious.
when he was in the hospital when his mom had the stroke, I think.
Yeah.
Bro, if
they
Don
were
Lemon,
watching.
I'll tell you the answer. If fucking Don Lemon, okay, went and like plastered clips from this podcast and just giggled at us.
I mean, I don't care.
and
about
then
Don Lemon.
invited you. Yeah, I know. But then he invited you on.
Just to laugh at
Like,
you.
there's no reason to say no. If you go on and you're eloquent
But I'm-
enough,
I'm
you
not
make
a-
your case.
I'm not
you make
saying-
him look like a jackass.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. Listen, I'm not saying that like, was it the right move or why did he go on to the show?
Yeah.
I'm saying why did Arthur feel betrayed by Murray for Murray showing the original clip of the stand-up, because the stand-up was recorded and then uploaded on the internet or whatever, but then Murray saw it and then put it onto his show and then made fun of it.
Because it,
Like, why did he feel betrayed personally?
it burst his bubble. We saw in the first half of the film him imagining being called out live in the middle of the show, you know? Like, he makes a comment and then the show stops and Murray looks at him, you know? That's his ideal first interaction with
Yeah.
Murray, you know? Because in his head it was going to happen one day or another. And in this case, in this universe, it does happen, and it's completely the wrong way. Because
The first
of
interaction between Murray and Arthur is Arthur being ridiculed on Murray's show.
instead of being idolized, because in the dream he's like, come here, and he hugs him, and you know, it's the perfect
Yeah,
interaction.
you're right. Yeah.
So then,
And even
this
if you
one-
remove his hallucinations, like, he almost takes it as like, wait a second, Murray, you're the type who's like encouraging this kind of thing, encouraging comedy, encouraging laughs, and then you're out here encouraging people to do it, and then just to shit on them. That's also like that's also like how a regular person who just, let's say, is a casual watcher and didn't have all these problems, they'd also probably be pissed too. You know? If you're watching a show consistently for years and you're growing up with it, and like, you know, you have the main star saying, oh, you know, do this, or like, I'd love to see you guys do this, or like, laughter's the best thing. Anybody who chooses to laugh, you know, like, God bless you and God bless America, you go ahead and you do it. Then they ridicule you for that. It's another layer of, it's more than just disrespectful. It's disrespect and it's hypocrisy.
Well, it's like
almost, in
if
his eyes.
your whole life you idolize, you know, like let's say like Drake, right? And then you.
Oh no.
No, I'm just saying as an example. You know,
Adi,
like you do every day of
no,
your life.
shut up, bro.
But
you idolize somebody
Drake.
who we can't
Drake.
talk about on the podcast anymore.
Drake, you're 36. You can't call yourself
He's
a
older than
lover
that.
boy.
He's older
No,
than
but
What I see, the
besides
guy is pushing 40 and he's acting like a fucking teenager.
besides the
Okay.
point, like imagine you idolize this guy, you listen since you were a kid, like you follow him, and you want to be a singer, right? Like kind of Murray wants to be a comedian. His life goal is to become a comedian, and in any other sense or like other way it would have happened, like he would have been brought up on the show, it probably wouldn't have bothered him. But I think the fact that it was laughing not only at his dream, but like the person he idolizes the most is laughing at his dream as well. Like he was saying like, oh, look at this guy, he's trying to be a comedian. I mean, like laughing at his work
good
as well.
point. It's also like, it's not just he does stand up, it's like it's his passion.
Yeah, he's laughing
Yeah.
at
It's his life mission.
how shitty his stand up is.
So his like he's shitting on his life goal and his life
His
Fucking
life.
layers.
That's his life goal. That's who he is. He wants to be a comedian, and he pretty much was like denied every sense of fiber in his body by being like, no, it's impossible. You cannot be a comedian. You're not funny. Like, here, how's not funny?
You're
you
not
are.
funny.
And then he loses the purpose. He loses his life's purpose because now he can't,
Do the little thing that
Do
made
the-
him happy.
exactly.
Happy.
Okay, so around that same time, Arthur meets up with Thomas Wayne, and then Thomas Wayne tells him that his mom's a nutcase, so he goes to Arkham, and then he tries to get the files on his mom, and he gets the files, he steals the files away, but then it turns out that like Arthur is not the biological son of Penny Fleck, and he ends up going back to the hospital and like basically killing her with a pillow. Why do you think Arthur kills his mother?
Because you can't waste ammo like that.
He only had 6 rounds.
it's because
Yeah, he had his last bullet.
That's it. He only had 6 rounds.
Jack Sparrow.
He's just metal like that.
I saved it for one.
I think it's
He needed one more for a UAV.
kill streak.
I mean, it's the reveal of another betrayal. He learns that he's been abused and she let it happen. Pretty much.
Yeah,
Well, his
entire
whole life.
worldview.
And his whole
He'll-
life is a lie.
Yeah.
So
No,
he's like freaking out even more.
Forget his whole life is lie. She
Allowed it.
caused the abuse. She allowed the abuse since he was a kid with his stepfathers, with everything, and to the point where she lied about his whole life, his father, everything.
Yeah.
The full betrayal of that just destroyed him. He just couldn't live with like even staring at her. So he's like, fuck it.
She created
I
another
think-
imaginary bubble that eventually.
Plus,
just
it was a
popped.
burden on him that he felt like he still felt like a shred of guilt and humanity for her. So like he still felt like it was his responsibility to take care of her because he believed the whole backstory that she crafted for him. And then once he finds out that that it's just not true, there's nothing tethering him to her anymore,
Yeah.
including like the responsibility of taking care of her. And he's already crossed the bridge of murder.
So she
why
becomes
not?
dead
It's
weight.
It's another problem
Yeah.
solved for him at that
She's
point.
basically dead weight, like he said.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, it was all a lie. Like, why am I even holding on to this? If like he finds out like everything's like the lid is blown up, he sees behind the curtain. So he's like,
Mhm.
what is the point of this anymore? Like,
Yeah.
I can't ever forgive or accept this person because like this person that I thought I trusted my whole life, because like doesn't have a dad, probably like he said, doesn't have any friends. It's the only person he latched onto, which was his mom. And then he was like, okay, so if that's not true, like what's the point of this person in my life? So
I
let's get rid
think
of her.
I think it has something to do with like, here's something I wrote, is like Arthur has nowhere to turn for comfort and safety.
Well, yeah, it's just true because
So he
Except for
basically
Sophie.
Murray.
Like,
but
it
it
was
turns
all
out that
imaginary.
she,
Not
yeah,
true.
she's
Not
not
real.
true. So because of that, it's like he just feels completely lost, and he feels like he's been betrayed by everyone. So he just says fuck the world, and to him, like you said, murder doesn't mean anything because he's already crossed that bridge. So he ends up like,
Almost relieved, like the one less person to
it's
take
like
care
to
of
him
it.
it's just what exactly.
You know what
it's
it
just
was? It
whatever.
is a bit too. Like he obviously has voices in his heads and his own personal voices, and I guess his mom was kind of like an extra voice, constantly telling him what to do, constantly changing the way he thinks, constantly
dictating.
Who he
creating
is.
narratives in his lives, and he literally just couldn't listen to that voice anymore, and he just like had to fucking just shut it up, and just that's why he had
I think
to
it
like,
has to
get
And I
rid of
bet
it.
part of that anger even comes from the fact that he probably hates that some of his crazy comes from her.
100%.
He probably blames
Blames her.
her for a lot of what's wrong with him. Whether that's right or not is another question. But like, for sure,
She- What was it? He says it's something at the beginning. I wrote it here. I'm just hoping my death makes more sense than my life.
Damn.
That's actually funny.
Sad.
That's actually fucking funny.
I think Panos is looking.
But that's
that's another
thing
Panos,
about it.
No, that's
you
just-
might
you're
have to
just
see a
retarded, bro.
psychiatrist about this.
No, but like that's another thing about identity.
What the fuck?
And Panos, like again, you had said he had crossed the bridge of violence. But my question is, when did the transformation happen? Because I think it's when he figured out that he's not, the actual son. It's when his identity is stripped away. So I think that creates the door. That creates the door to become someone else, and there he goes, the
Yeah.
clown.
Yeah, once he kills his mom, he
That's
kills
when
Arthur
he
Fleck.
crosses the bridge.
That's when he
doesn't
becomes
exist
the
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that isn't that like after that, like when he's like in his full suit, the elevator opens, the music playing.
Dancing,
Yeah,
like-
but that's after he kills the
so
clown
Arthur
friends.
Fleck dies when,
the Joker
when it
is
turns
born.
out
If-
when it turns out that Penny Fleck was never his mom.
Exactly.
So his last bit of identity
Gone.
is stripped away from him. So then he's just nobody. He's like in the ether. And yeah, so what's interesting is he also gets off the meds around that time because it turns out that there's no supply of it. And once
It's
he's
not
off,
a Kanye commentary.
so
But that's fucked up too.
What time
the,
is it,
the
Chris?
government cutting
Real
on
quick.
on the funds of the bills
37.
for
637.
Yeah.
for mental illness.
6:37.
yeah. Wait, just say goodbye first.
I just want to see if I got a call, because if I did, I'm
Oh damn.
what?
Fam,
oh shit,
fam.
oh shit, oh fuck.
Fuck.
Mom, I'm coming.
Clip it. Clip it.
Did we leave yet or no?
I'm gonna come.
The way it got so quiet, he goes, "Mom, I'm coming."
Yo, you gotta add that. It's a perfect exit.
That is a shorts right there.
Just start saying
You
something.
better you better not. You can leave it in the podcast. Don't make a short of that. I don't
Bro,
need
that would go
5,000
viral,
views.
bro. That'd be a short that you have to make that into a short. I'm sorry. He wants some funny shit, bro. That's a short. I'm sorry.
Okay, you know what?
bro.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Fuck it. You just have to be like, you're just quiet. And you
Chris,
see go,
do you have
yo,
a gun
Mom,
that
I'm
could-"
coming.
And then
Another reason that one of the Wayne boys got capped is because like they had a really stupid fucking fade.
You know what, Panos? You know what you get when you cross a mentally ill patient with a society that lacks good barbers that can give good fades? You get what you fucking deserve! Sorry for that. That was a interruption on our end. You have something to say, Mr. Luca, sir.
Yeah, no, a cool point that you kind of see throughout the movie. When you start off, he's like thin, like almost like deathly anorexic
yeah.
and shy, and he's like to himself, and you could tell like our point was before where kind of like Arthur dies. So
Died.
you see he died, and you see how he's like kind of like fills in his suit, like he's like not as skinny, not as like almost healthy, and he's just like happy and smiling and just dancing and lively and talking to everybody. Like you could see it's a completely different person.
So is your point that him becoming the Joker made him more healthy?
In the sense he passed the level of insane that almost made him look
Insanity.
more sane.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
it's like peak insanity.
I
like,
think I know what you mean. Like he was.
He finally
insane and
he embraces it. Like
Yeah.
he was always like,
It's embracing, but also blending in. Before
Yeah.
he wasn't able to blend in with the
Mhm.
crowd. He would
Yeah,
always
that's
stand
true.
out with his laugh. Now he's just part of the crowd, especially when the cops are being beaten up in the metro, and he just goes,
yeah, and
Yeah,
even
like,
when
he's
the
just like
crowd's
another
laughing on the
civilian.
show, on the Murray show, like he's laughing with them. You hear like they laugh at the same time, kind of thing. Like,
he's catched on with
Yeah.
the society's tempo. Society. Do you think, and you can debate this at whichever point in the film, do you think Arthur is chasing glorification?
ooh,
What do you mean by that?
Like,
glorifying what? Like what is
Himself-
he
he's
trying to
trying to glorify
himself,
himself?
the image he has created,
So
or Arthur, like, because there's, like I said, in many moments in the film, like you can say he's glorifying himself by seeing himself the center of the attention at the Murray show, he's glorifying Arthur Fleck, but at the end of the movie he's embraced this new persona, the
Mhm.
Joker ideology. So is he embracing the Joker mentality and propagating it, you know, in the crowd. That like we can debate that at the end with the final scene. You know, him on the car with the love and the applause from the
Honestly,
rioters. You know, it's hard to say.
at the beginning, I feel like no, he doesn't really care about it. But as soon as like he starts breaking away from like society and the norms and standards, and like he's seeing this movement of like people who are dressing up as clowns and like trying to overthrow like the government or like just like the norms set by all the rich people or like what people stand for. Like near the end, like I think like he likes that like he's like like he starts that whole. Well, he doesn't start the movement, but like
no, he does.
He is the responsible.
He's the face of the movement.
yeah, he's the face of the movement. And then like when he sees like, you know, like he's in the car and he's looking outside the window like this, and he sees like everyone going crazy. He's like so happy, and then it like literally the movement crashes, saves him from the police car. And then he's just there and he like embraces the smile and he's like just like basking in the glory, and like
And then he
they're
starts
treating him
dancing.
like a king. Yeah.
Well, I think he, in a sense, I would say like yes and no. He, like his relationship that he created in his mind was to glorify kind of his life a bit, because it was so shit that he needed to make a fake reality to glorify, make him like a reason to live, almost like. Everything like
It's
the
the biggest
relationship,
piece of dog shit.
fuck you. No, but there's different sense. I don't know. Like I can't pinpoint.
No, like you said, like at the beginning, I don't think it was too much of glorification, but like he did want to have a better life because like he was so miserable. He was so
I think
feeble.
I think he was trying to. He
Make himself feel better.
He didn't have any form of like, I guess, like gratification is the wrong word, but like he didn't get any form of like praise or appraisal for anything.
Yeah.
So he tried seeking that out through comedy, and obviously that didn't work. So he was always trying to seek some form of comfort and acceptance from other people, but it was difficult for him because obviously of his conditions. And
Well, he glorified his comedy by imagining himself being on the Murray Show, right? Like in a sense, I think you're right. Like he was trying to glorify, like since the beginning of the movie, every single step, like you saw the side, like we saw him in his real
Shit world.
But we also saw his brain and his relationships that never existed. So I'm sure in his own self-image and his own self-thought, 100% he glorified his whole life.
yeah,
And then, like, I think the first time he would actually see proof of, like, not proof, but that the moment the glorification comes to life, I think, and you see the most genuine smile he's ever had in the entire film. I don't know if you caught that moment. It's when, like, there's this car full of clowns passing, and he's on the street, and he just looks at them, and the guy in the cab looks at him back, and he knows he's responsible for that, and he's like, look, my children.
Yeah, it's like, look what I did.
You know, and he's genuinely proud of, you know, his shit actions.
And I think you're wrong. He did start the movement. It's him. He killed the three Wayne, like the big.
No, but
Wayne.
like we said at the beginning of the movie, that shit was still happening, but he really like took like the grip on it and he pushed
yeah, but
it.
that thing that's been happening for years and centuries. In
he
Gotham.
gaslit it.
Like they never did anything.
They
Like,
never
Gotham
did
was
anything, but
always-
then the murder happened. Nobody knew what happened, and then when they finally said, "Oh, it was a clown mass murder,"
Yeah.
everyone started going, and he's like, "That's me." So let me embrace it.
But Gotham has always been in the slums. It's always been
yeah, it's a
rich
slum
versus
city.
poor. They've
Yeah,
never
always.
kind of
Have
like,
an in between.
in between, and he was that stepstone to like be like, yeah, like we're joking. It's
Yeah,
it's all funny.
but it wasn't intentional. He just killed those guys.
He was the stepstone to say.
It wasn't intentional at
It's a
first,
good
but
down.
it's cause of him.
no, yeah,
It's
okay.
caused by him.
No, I do agree with that, but like I feel like at the beginning it wasn't intentional, so it wasn't like I want to start this movement. But then
Obviously
he
not, yeah.
realized all the people like looking up to this person who killed them, so he's like, "Yo, that's me." So like, let's fucking go, baby.
And you know, it's interesting because the first first murders were kind of responsible for the protests and mass manifestations. But after, when he kills Murray, that's what literally puts the city on fire.
100%. Yeah.
Because that's like
He-
I think it was Panos who mentioned it, like the different like people die on the streets every day, and then someone popular dies, and that's like in your living room, you know.
Wait. I have a question. Who's Panos?
Deleted.
but
But, you
again, like I think you're right in the sense where he just like Arthur died in a sense that where Arthur started that by accident in a sense, but the Joker
Embrace it.
embraced.
The
And
Joker
took
is
it
the
to the
movement.
next
Yeah,
level.
exactly. Like by killing Murray, he literally like embrace the movement. He did that. Like, I am the Joker. Like, kill Murray, but like, yes, like continue.
And then because of that, like Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne die again.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
like
again, it was the first time they died in the movie. But it's interesting the reason why. What was the reason why they died in the comics?
it just like
And one of the clowns went in an alley.
No, but I know
no,
like in the
it's
comic.
literally
Just a
Joe
mug.
Chill
Someone was
just
robbing
kills
them.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
Well, they
robbed-
were leaving a show.
They were
It was
leaving
always-
the Mask of Zorro. Like
Where does
basically, it was during the time where like it wasn't
Bruce
wasn't
pussied out.
safe. And then Bruce was like begging his parents, like, I really want to watch this play. So like, okay, like we'll do anything for our son. And then they die because of that.
No, or maybe that's because of the film. Like,
No,
didn't
no,
he
it just,
pussy
like-
out and had to leave because he got scared. That was
Yeah,
in the
well,
movie.
there's that. There's in certain instances where like he gets scared and they leave. But most of the time is like he forces his parents to go to that show, and like the mom and dad don't really think it's a good idea because like of the situation, because of Gotham City. But then Thomas like, oh, what's the worst that could happen? You know, we're just going for our son, and then
The
the
worst?
worst does happen.
Yeah.
But
both
at
die,
the
yeah.
same time, that worst creates the best because.
Batman.
What a sly comeback.
Well, one last question to top this all off is how much of the film do you think is in Arthur's head, percentage wise?
Okay, I have a really controversial theory.
All
You
of it.
know how like throughout the movie, like he's living his life and stuff, and then for 1 second we see him in like in a room with a white door, and like he's talking to somebody, or like he looks at the clock, and
Yeah.
that scene is just for 5 seconds.
There's two of those.
Yeah, and then at the very end, you see him in that same room, and he's like cuffed, and like he's in the hospital wing.
Did you see the theory of the time?
Yeah, and the time, like throughout the movie, the time is all. Every time they look at the clock, it's
Never
always
changed,
it
yeah.
never changes.
Yeah.
So
saw that.
there's a theory where I think that from the whole movie, he's been in that room just thinking about
He's
everything.
in a psych
And it's-
ward kind of.
Yeah,
You're saying.
he's in the psych ward already, and he's just thinking of all that shit. Because they show a glimpse of the white room, and then they show it at the end when he kills the guard, so people think, oh, he goes to prison and then he escapes again. But I think the whole time he's like in the hospital wing.
But if that's the case, that means they're putting a lot of weight on the second movie.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
second movie is gonna
Yeah.
have a big effect on if that's true or
Is
not.
there a second movie?
Yeah,
It's Lady Gaga's in it. They
with
posted
Lady
the-
Gaga, bro,
They posted
as
the,
Harley Quinn.
The actual
Okay, but
La
wait.
Danse à deux.
Maybe
La Folie à deux.
I agree.
What
Maybe
the
he is
fuck?
in the asylum.
But the second movie will debunk like all the theories we have. But like you could say, arguably, you could even say that like when he's in the police car and they
Mhm.
crash, he fucking dies, and when they're pulling out his body, he's dead, and that's just him, like
But
in heaven or in hell, thinking about that.
okay, like I saw that about how if
The
every
clocks.
clock in the movie is at the same time, it could be, well, maybe it's just a hypothesis, but like he was in the asylum the whole time, but these could be actions that did happen, and that's caused him in the asylum. This is
Or he's been in the asylum. He's been dreaming about
The
this whole
clock
life.
represents the present.
the present of his storytelling. He's like kind
We're
of
in his
telling
mind,
a story.
you know?
We're
No,
in
I
his mind
think I think at least like I would say half of the movie is in reality.
so you think the whole movie?
Yeah, I
What
think the
brings
whole
you-
movie.
What brings you to half? Like, what do you think?
Okay,
half?
because if it was entirely, because if you have to think about it, he's glorifying the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
In his mind, and a lot of it is not very glorious way of thinking.
Hmm.
So if you look at it, for example, there's parts where he's fully daydreaming, like when he daydreams that he's on Murray's show, and then there's parts where he's daydreaming, but you're not in his head. You're watching him daydream physically.
That's what I agree with you, because that's what I had mentioned previously in the podcast.
Yeah, but
kind
you
of
don't-
where
You don't know that though, like, cause if you see that incident of the hospital wing or the psychiatric wing, like who says that like everything we see, like it's not true, like the Sophie, his girlfriend, like
how
all
about
that
maybe
stuff.
another theory maybe is the fact that, so there, I agree with you in the sense that sometimes I feel like we are watching him, where some parts of the movie were in his head, and I think that maybe the parts where stop moving the fucking mic, you hear it in the thing. The parts where you hear, like you see him in his head, that's why the time never moves. That's like maybe it's specifically when we see the clocks, it's when we're in his head and we're in a fake reality that's within him.
I think what happens is the whole movie is him reminiscing as to what happened.
in the psych ward. Maybe that's
In
as
the
well.
psych ward.
Yeah.
And it would make
Maybe that's
sense
going.
because it really surprised me, like with the film style, because it's what was his name, the director,
Todd
Todd
Phillips.
Phillips.
Todd Phillips. It's not his film style. And
Mhm.
this was something completely new on a huge scale. You know, you're taking on Joker for a film. And it reminded me of, like, you know, art cinema in a way.
Mm.
Have you ever watched artsy cinema?
No, I've
movies?
only seen Shade Cinema.
Shade Cinema. Subscribe to the channel.
Like the video.
Turn on notifications. But like, art cinema is like very slow. You know, that's one of the main
Mhm.
characteristics of art cinema. It's slow, and I think Joker was a perfect result because it was a good blend of Hollywood with art, and it
Mhm.
gave you this Hollywoodian art, which is that's why it was so successful. But at the same time, it could explain our thinking, our debate right now,
Yeah.
partly in his head or reality. And art cinema does tend to play in those fields.
I mean,
So-
it'd be kind of cool the fact that, like, let's say, like, we're watching him and that's like real, but like when we're in his head, right? Like, time doesn't really work the same way, right? So that's why maybe the time doesn't move because we're within his realm of thoughts.
So you're saying the hospital scene is where he's hallucinating?
Yeah.
So
In a sense, like-
when you're saying he's hallucinating that he's in the hospital, the mental asylum,
The White Room.
the White Room.
Yeah.
No, I don't know because it's tough because
But he
Honestly,
ends
I think the film, there's no like answer. There's no real
it's
answer.
made to
He's
debate.
made it in a way that like some people could think that like half of it is real, half of it is fake. Some people could think the whole thing is fake. Some people think he dies at the end of the movie. So like when he's like smiling on the cab, like he dies in that car crash, and then that
Mhm.
just is subconscious like drifting.
And
When-
it's
So people said that too. So like the as I've watched it like
I doubt it.
two, 3, 4 times, and like every time I'm like there's always that like instance of like is
Okay.
this really happening?
How about theory? When he got in the car crash, right? Like he got hit, he didn't die. That's where he got caught, obviously, because he was kind of in a run, right? In the sense where he would like no one really knew where he was. Where
I mean, he killed a man on live TV.
I mean, exactly. That's right after, but like they're going after him. He gets hit by a car. That's why he's in the asylum. So he's like, I think talking to someone, Harley Quinn, who is a therapist,
Bro,
and so he's
Stop.
explaining
Oh,
what happened, right? Because he got hit. Now he's in the asylum. He's talking to someone,
and
and
she's
that's
gonna
the
be
story.
mentally ill too, and she's gonna
100%.
fall in
No,
love with
but
him.
She isn't mentally well at the
She
moment
is.
when they're talking.
We'll see what happens with
She-
that.
Oh, bro,
We'll
this is
see
too good.
about that.
But it's interesting because you can
That's actually not bad.
Todd
Luca.
Phillips honors Joker by making the film so complex.
100%.
You can't decipher any Joker. Like all the Jokers that exist, you can't explain them, and it's perfect because that's what makes this movie perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
But I think
Because
that'd be
you
a great
can't
way.
explain this movie at all.
Yeah, it'd be what my theory would be a great way to how they would link that to the second movie is that the fact that they've been in this. The first movie was in the asylum, and he's explaining from his side what happened, right? Like what.
And he might
the
be
story
lying.
Was. It could be. Oh, it could be all a lie.
He might
We
be
never-
lying because
never
Joker
went
is
to the- yeah.
devious as fuck, you know?
And wait, also something to think about. Here's a question I came up with just like last second. Do you think this Joker is the same Joker that the Batman ends up fighting?
No,
Not the Batman. I don't mean
no,
like
because look,
like
I'm gonna
Batman.
give you a good thing. There's like there's multiple different Joker personalities. There's like the Clown Prince of Crime, where he's just like a guy who just wants to blow up shit or like kill people just for fun.
Yeah.
And then there's the Joker where he's like insane, but he has a purpose where he wants to destroy the norms of society.
Like.
And then there's in this movie, I think they actually made like just a normal person who's mentally ill becomes the Joker. You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
So like
So do you-
like
but do
this
you- but do you
what's
think-
scary about this movie is like there are people like this on the planet.
100%.
The Joker is always like he's still a villain. He's like he gets stopped by like superheroes and stuff, you know. And then there's Joker where he's just a lunatic and he doesn't give a fuck and he just wants
Yeah.
to do whatever he wants to do for a reason. But this Joker, what's scary was it was just a normal human who was mentally ill, and which causes him to be the Joker, which is scarier.
Which is
Like imagine a
could be anyone.
schizophrenic. Yeah, it could be anybody.
Like it's not due to
It's not like-
chemical or
exactly,
something.
exactly.
It's
He's just
purely
he's just all mental.
psychotic.
Yeah.
like
But
everything.
not psychotic, like mentally ill.
Well, yeah, it's
Well, he is psychotic.
psychotic.
Yeah.
Like like most Jokers were trying to say like they fell in the
Yeah.
The vat.
the
vat.
vat of
Psychopaths.
acid, and that's what caused him to
But this
go.
is like, it's somebody who like with actual schizophrenia, like multiple personality disorder. Like it's crazy. It's scary.
You think they might link the Batman with?
No.
with,
It's like, I think Todd Phillips universe own thing.
Okay.
The
And it should
Batman is
stay
own
like
No, I
that.
mean
universe.
like I
It
mean like
should
the
stay like
bat.
that.
I mean the Batman is
From
no from like the Robert Pattinson. I don't mean that's
Yeah.
connected. I mean like is this the Joker that Bruce Wayne ends up fighting? later
no.
on?
I think it's its own thing. It's an own universe.
No, but I mean like in general. Like
I don't think
in
so.
that in that universe, when Bruce Wayne grows up, do you think he's gonna end up fighting that Joker?
No.
Or how long do you think it might have been between the time that
Because the Joker is all.
Arthur Fleck got captured and then Bruce Wayne becomes Batman?
But that's way too long. But he'd be like in his 60s.
Yeah, that's the thing. He would be an old ass
Yeah,
fuck
he'd
Joker.
be,
you
he'd
know?
be in his 60s.
He's like
Fair, yeah.
he's in his 30s.
Bro, Batman is like he was a teen.
He's a
Was
child.
he a teenager? He was
No,
a
he
child.
was like
He
he
was
was
like 10
probably
years
what,
old.
10 to 12.
Okay, so Batman becomes
10
Batman
years,
one.
dude. 30 is gonna be 4
Batman
years
year
old.
one is when he's like
I agree with
26.
Chris.
Okay, so
25?
16 years. Joker would be 46, let's say.
That's very
No, but that's
possible.
Batman year one. But then Batman like he's like in his like in the like fighting for like at least 5 like usually different depictions.
No, I agree with Chris. I think it's quite possible because let's say he's
He'd be
around.
told,
his-
bro. He'd be told. He's never fell
46.
in.
But
The,
wait, think about it.
he
Think
never
about it
fell
like
in
this.
a vat of chemicals.
Think about it like this, right? He's rethinking this stuff, right?
Maybe he's
in
gonna
his
fall in
head.
it later.
He's he's rethinking this stuff in his head, right? If it's my theory, right, where the whole movie it's sort of him remembering the actions that he did as the Joker. We don't know exactly how long between when he was the Joker and when he was in the asylum. Because keep in mind, right, when you dye your hair, it doesn't just go away in like a month. It takes a while. Like it takes like 2-3 months at least, right? But
And
think
it's
about it like
black.
this: there's no trace of it whatsoever. So that probably means that he was in that asylum for
A while.
For a while.
At least a year. Yeah.
Well, it has to be because he got hit by the car. He can't just next day be like, "Hey guys, like, well, I'll explain it." Like he probably had
Maybe you went in a coma for a bit.
100%.
But
Like certain
that you
things.
said,
No,
the
I
green
doubt
hair
it.
isn't there anymore in the last scene.
Yeah.
He's black.
It could have been
He's back
years,
to
yeah.
black, and yeah.
No, but honestly, it doesn't make sense because like basically, the whole origin for Arthur Fleck is he's basically a failed comedian, and these 2 mobsters come and tell him, "Yo, do a job for us. Like you need to provide for your wife and your kid, your unborn kid." And he's like, "Okay, since I have nothing going on for me, fuck it, I'll do it." And then that's when he meets Batman, and that's when he falls in the vat. So like, if he's already his origin already happened, how would Batman tie in if Batman's 10 years old? You understand what I'm saying?
I get that, but I'm saying it's different here. It's a different story.
I think
So-
they left us a huge clue in the poster for the next movie.
yeah.
I think, but this might be very far fetched, but then again, you never know.
Honestly, the second movie is gonna have a big impact on what
When is it
happens
coming
or
out?
not.
I think it's
This summer.
This summer, yeah. The clue is, I think, you see Joaquin standing like this, and someone's like putting the white cream on his face to shave.
White
To
cream.
shave. But I think from far you can say, oh, it's like he's gonna become pasteurized because he falls into the pit, officially becoming
But
Joker.
do you guys really think he's
Well,
gonna fall?
officially. He's
But
already
if they
Joker.
do that,
into
it
the
would
Lazarus pit.
no,
But
no,
wait.
like the vat
the
of
Phantom
the
of Youth,
chemical.
bro.
The chemical.
But wait, okay. Why? What I'm confused about is that technically we agreed to the fact that we got rid of Arthur. Arthur doesn't exist. He like became the Joker.
Yeah, but like he becomes physically like more distorted. This is when he
okay.
becomes more comic version.
Okay,
comic
okay.
book
But
version.
in this adaptation, I don't think it's a comic Joker. It's
Yeah,
its own
that's-
Joker.
Yeah.
So for them to add Batman and make him just become another Joker fighting Batman, it would ruin the whole momentum of the
I don't
movie.
think he'll fall in a vat of acid. I really don't think.
But
I-
you don't want him. You want him to be a clown prince of crime and be like, haha, Batman. Like I don't want that. I want him to just be mental and stable and just live in that universe where he's just a Joker and
But
that's
Alex,
it.
the first part you said was true. The clown prince. This is gonna be his rise to Gotham City, and maybe at the end we get a little
But
hint of Batman becoming
next
older.
movie could be.
The third movie, Batman
Yeah.
shows up to
But
make it a nice
I feel like
trilogy.
I feel like it will ruin the whole momentum of how
But-
unique
Fuck
and
you,
different this
bitch.
is compared to the
But
comics.
Exactly, you take the entire second movie to build him even more,
agree with you,
and
but-
at the end you
Because I don't want him
You
just to
prep the
become
third.
a villain.
The whole point of Joker is to fight the Batman.
I know, but this movie was so different. There was no Batman. It was just the Joker. That's why it was amazing.
Without the Joker, there's no Batman.
I
But
know.
there was Batman. He's just 6.
He's just a kid.
Bends him down.
Bad boy.
He basically,
Bad boy.
he basically molested him. He's like, remember me when I molested you at 8 years old in front of a Wayne Manor?
Mom,
Beg your pardon?
Mom, I'm coming.
He still has
What the fuck?
nightmares of that. This strange man molested me.
Alfred with the
This is
shotgun.
haram.
Get away from him, Bruce.
I agree with you where I
I honestly
think
think
it
it would
would.
ruin the movie.
agree with you.
Because it's so different. Like, it's not Heath Ledger. It's not Jared Leto.
It's not an action film.
It's not Mark Hamill. It's not like any
It's not
comic
Arkham
book.
Knight.
It's
It's
not
not Arkham Knight.
Arkham
But he also
Knight.
doesn't look like he's like the Joker is usually classified as being like very smart.
Yeah, and a villain. This guy's just mentally ill. It's like anybody. It's like
But
anybody with
but
a
this
sick
Joker,
disease.
but the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is just really dumb. Not dumb, but like he's just
No,
crazy.
but he's actually mentally
he's just
ill.
average.
The crazy,
average IQ.
like Joker is crazy, but like I don't think he's mentally ill to the point where like he suffers
like to
from
the same
sickness.
level of Arthur.
He's just psycho. Like he just not to Arthur's level.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it would be weird. I
But
don't know
maybe
how
maybe
they-
that's their goal, but I feel like it
Listen,
will
I think
ruin
if they do it properly, it would create a really cool.
But they can't make him fall in the vat of like I feel
No,
like
I
they
don't
should
think-
just keep him
Yeah,
crazy like
I
this,
agree
and
with
that's
you.
it.
so yeah.
Not a second origin. We saw his origin. It was Murray.
Murray, don't marry me. Thank you guys for watching. It was really good. Very good discussion. Very fun discussion about this movie. I can't wait for the new movie coming out this summer. When it comes out, we'll do a show on it for sure. We're changing the scheduling for every week. We're doing every 2 weeks now, the shows, because it'll be a lot more easier for me to manage with all the shorts and stuff that I'm sure all of you guys are enjoying very thoroughly.
Shade
So-
Cinema has a TikTok account. Go follow.
Yes, Shade Cinema podcast on TikTok, so keep that in mind. And as always, that's life.